Hey everyone, welcome back. What I'm about to share is both alarming and frustrating. In a recent Senate hearing, I raised two major issues: nuclear contamination at Jana Elementary School in Missouri, and our dangerous reliance on China for energy. These issues impact real families and our country's future. Jana Elementary in the Hazelwood School District near St. Louis faced a shocking crisis. Nuclear waste found right on school grounds. The school was shut down, leaving parents, teachers, and students in the dark. Nobody is giving real answers. I won't stand by while these kids and families get ignored. No child should pay the price for government negligence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Huff, you stated in your prepared testimony the importance of appropriately locating nuclear waste disposal locations, if I got that right. And you talked with Senator Cortez Masto just a second ago at some length about this. Can you agree, can we agree that at the very least, wherever we think about locating nuclear waste, probably not a great idea to have it in proximity to school children?
School children are very important, and their safety is very important. Yes, sir.
So you're aware, I hope, that is unfortunately exactly what happened, however, in my home state of Missouri at Jana Elementary School in the Hazelwood School District in the St. Louis area. We have nuclear material that is not only in proximity to a school, it's actually on school grounds. The school has had to be closed as a result of this. I know that this is not your portfolio at the Department of Energy, but you do work for the Department of Energy. So I just want to register once again my displeasure at the fact that the parents and teachers at this school cannot get any answers from the Department of Energy. I can't get any answers from the Department of Energy. I can't get any answers from the Army Corps. And currently, the Department of Energy and the Army Corps of Engineers are each blaming each other for this situation, which is decades in the making. And as a result, these school kids, who knows what they've been exposed to, and they can't go to school at this location.
Let me be crystal clear. Until these families get justice, I will hold up every single Department of Energy nomination before the Senate. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. These parents and kids don't have big donors or political connections, but their voices matter. If you agree, hit subscribe and join me in holding Washington accountable.
So I'm just pointing this out, once again, and you can take this message back, that I'm serious about this. I've written to the president about it. I need him to get his administration into line. I don't care whose jurisdiction is what, this, that, or the other. I want this fixed for these school kids, and until we get some answers here, and frankly, some justice for these school kids, I'm going to hold every nomination the Department of Energy. And I've done this before. We've been down this road before, and I will do it as long as it takes. I want to be on the record. I want to be crystal clear about this. I will do this as long as it takes until we get some fidelity for what happened to these school kids. And just because these kids and their parents are not big-time donors doesn't mean that they can be ignored. And frankly, I'm pretty mad about it. And I'm tired of getting the runaround, and I'm even more mad that they've gotten the runaround for years. So that's just, you can take that message back and say that Senator Hawley was not in a good mood.
Let's talk about China. I asked energy officials how reliant our nuclear industry is on Chinese components. The answer was troubling. China is steadily building influence in nuclear supply chains. Beijing wants to double its nuclear power capacity by 2035. China has a long track record of economic espionage, stealing technology to leapfrog competitors. Our supply chains remain vulnerable.
Let's talk a little bit about China, if we could. Just give me a sense, Dr. Huff, how reliant, to your knowledge, are U.S. nuclear power producers on Chinese suppliers, whether that's for the reactors themselves or for components? What's your sense of this?
Yeah, so it's increasing certainly in the context of components as you think about the amount of supply chain capability that China has. Their ability to supply components for nuclear reactors is increasing over time, but it is pretty limited actually in terms of the fuel, and it's actually possible that Mr. Dominguez might be better at describing this in terms of his own company. But
go ahead, Mr. Dominguez, weigh in on this if you would.
I think Dr. Huff said it right. It's compared to Russia, relatively minor piece of the supply puzzle. I speak principally for our company. Look, we're going to buy from everyone, and we have bought from everyone historically, certainly before this geopolitical event, just from a risk management perspective. So we've got a toe in the water in a lot of places, but China is a very small thing.
Let me come back to you, Doctor, if I could. What steps is DOE taking to move our nuclear energy supply chains out of China so that we don't have any reliance on them.
The Department of Energy says they're working to diversify supply chains, but we can't move fast enough. This is about national security. Chinese companies have even been indicted for espionage in this space. If we don't act, we risk China compromising our energy independence and security.
Thank you for this question. It is important to the Department of Energy that we diversify these supply chains. We've written a supply chain report, actually, on a number of different energy technologies, including advanced and small modular nuclear reactors, that expands on what the bottlenecks are and where industry can contribute to increasing the robustness of those supply chains and which particular components are going to need more, domestic and allied support. So I'd refer you to that report, which is pretty great, actually.
Let me ask you about espionage in this space. Beijing has said that it intends to double China's nuclear power capacity by 2035. We know that they have used, they being Beijing, has used economic espionage to advance all aspects of its industrial agenda over decades now, and have had, sadly, quite a bit of success at using espionage to do that. Are you aware of Chinese intelligence services targeting employees or others in the U.S. nuclear industry for purposes of gathering intelligence that Beijing can then use for their own goals?
Thank you, Senator. I take classified information very seriously, and I would sort of refer you to our intelligence colleagues in a maybe more classified setting for some of this specific information, but I will say the following, that it is certainly the case that the United States has indicted one Chinese company in relation to this a couple years ago.
Great. Well, my time's expired. I've got a couple more questions for you along these lines for the record, and I'll get them to you there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Missouri families deserve justice for what happened at Jana Elementary. America must cut its reliance on China in our energy supply chain. Protecting our kids and our country's future matters. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for updates on this fight. Together, we can push for real change.